Okay, I'm testing on this one, see if it works.
It's unavailable.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let me try this again here. I tried to get to my video, but I didn't have my camera plugged in, so I deleted that previous video and live stream. So anyways, my name is Ryan. Welcome to my first live stream, actually. Today is Thursday, April 4th, 2019. The current time is 7:35 p.m. The reason why I'm doing this live stream is to make it easier because my phone apparently cut me off at 68 minutes and my whole video was shot. So I'm doing a live stream so that way it uploads real time as well as current information. So the reason why I'm doing this quick video here is I received paperwork from my soon-to-be ex-wife, and it was from Brudvik Law Office, Brudvik. That's Boy, Robert, Union, David, Victor, Ida, Karen Law Office. That's based out of 640 Hill Avenue in Grafton, North Dakota. That's where her attorney is based out of. It's in regards to a case for divorce that's going on in Grand Forks County, North Dakota. It's regarding case number 18-2019-David Mike. That's DM-00125. Dissolution of marriage with children. Basically, I filed in February of 2019, February 11th, and she filed a month later. Technically, that makes this divorce unconstitutional. It's not even right. Legally, lawfully, morally, it's not even right because it even states in the paperwork when you file, if one spouse has already filed for a divorce and another spouse cannot file for a divorce, knowing that there is an actual divorce somewhere else in another state, another county, whatever. So her attorney decided to go ahead and file anyways, knowing that it's not right and legally right. So technically, I will not be responding to any of these documents that they have provided me. I will not respond to Grand Forks County, North Dakota, as to me, they do not have jurisdiction. That is supposed to be in Kandiyohi County since I had filed first and it was not filed simultaneously. In regards to the court hearing, some of the paperwork, I got one here. It says certificate of default and non-military status. That's their intention of this, is to file a default hearing requesting or having the judge, Lolita, I think her name is, which I'll get to that in a little bit, but she's out of Grand Forks County, North Dakota court system. They're trying to get her to grant everything that they want on the basis that I did not respond to any of their paperwork, which technically I'm not obligated to because this court case is invalid. With that being said, so the first one says certificate of default, non-military status. Basically, Diane L. Schull, Diane, middle initial L, last name Schull, Schull, is her attorney out of the Brudvik Law Office. It says basically that comes now before her for the plaintiff, which is my soon-to-be ex-wife. In the above entitled proceeding, hereby certifies that the summons, basically the summons that they filed was personally served on me on March 4th, 2019, and that it's to see attached. Basically, it's see the affidavit of service add document ID number 4. It's basically identifying that. And then it's been more than 21 days since I have received that summons, and I have not interposed an answer to the complaint nor made an appearance of any kind. I'm not going to respond to anything that's illegal here, so that's not the way it works. That defendant is in default herein, and the plaintiff prays judgment in this proceeding in accordance with the law, basically saying that I'm in default because I didn't respond to any of their paperwork, and that they're requesting judgment, asking the courts to go ahead and honor that, which I think is bull crap. So, but that's the first piece. The next piece basically is a brief in support of motion for default, basically stating that the plaintiff, by and through her attorney, out of the Brudvik law firm PC, and pursuant to Rule 55 of the North Dakota Rules of Civil Procedure, submits this brief in support of her request for a default judgment in the above captioned case according to the demand in the complaint, or for such relief as the court may see fit to grant. Basically, with that being said, basically according to Rule 12, Section A, Paragraph A, Subsection A, which is a capital letter A of the North Dakota Rules of Civil Procedures, that a defendant must serve an answer within 21 days after being served with the summons and complaint. If this were a legal case, yes. This is an illegal case. This is an invalid. This is not morally right and should not be going or continuing the way it is. On top of that, they're requesting a dismissal out of Kandiyohi County, which is in the description below. Basically, out of Kandiyohi County on April 17th, Wednesday at 3:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be going in front of a judge here as they will be doing it telephonically, requesting to have request jurisdiction to be granted to Grand Forks County, North Dakota, because, and which I'll get to that here in a little bit. So it hasn't even been determined jurisdiction, but lawfully, since I filed my paperwork a month prior to her, Kandiyohi County is the actual jurisdiction of that, regardless of any matter, because it states that if two spouses again file at different times, then the one that filed first is actually the one that's supposed to get it. The second one shouldn't have filed to begin with, unless they were filed simultaneously, which this is not the case. So technically, their case is invalid out of Grand Forks County. But basically, with the paragraph that was mentioned, it says if the plaintiff's claim against the defendant is for the sum certain or a sum that can be made certain by computation, the court, on affidavit of the amount due and the production of the written instrument, if any, on which the claim is based, may direct the entry of judgment. That first A, or the first A would be entry if a party against whom a judgment for affirmative relief is sought has failed to plead or otherwise appear, and the failure is shown by affidavit or otherwise, the court may direct the clerk to enter an appropriate default judgment in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendant as follows. And that's where I did part A. And then the last thing would be the capital A or sub paragraph A would be hear evidence and assess damages. So either way, it's all a bunch of crap, if you ask me. And then they added to the end of that line, emphasis added. So they're really trying to like put emphasis on, hey, judge, grant us. Don't give him anything he wants. Don't let him do anything. Just go ahead and do this illegal motion or whatever, regardless. Next, it says the defendant was personally served with the summons on March 4th, 2019. Yes, I was personally served, but again, she was served on February 14th, and I have documentation of that from mine, so that shows it's almost a month apart. That's not simultaneous. More than 21 days have elapsed since the service and summons of the defendant, as indicated in the certificate of default and non-military status, which I mentioned before, and I have not made any communication with the plaintiff's counsel. And why would I communicate with her counsel? They're not paid by me. They're not going to give a crap what I say. They're not going to care what I say, whether it's right or wrong. They're going to keep doing what they want to do anyways. And then it says further, the defendant has made public statements on YouTube that he does not intend to appear in this action. Yeah, if it's in Kandiyohi County, where it actually belongs, I will attend every hearing there is here because that's legally where it's supposed to take place, not Grand Forks County, and I'm not driving 5 hours to do an illegal hearing. In addition, North Dakota Rules of Civil Procedure 55 is what they're stating for their cause again. Again, mentioning about not being in the military service during the process of this this movement of their case. And that was basically signed by her attorney on the 2nd day of April. So that's part 2. The next form I got here is a motion for default. Basically, they're requesting... let's see, that I was again served on March 4th and that they have the affidavit of service filed as docket entry number 4, that my time to file a written answer has expired and plaintiff has not received an answer from defendant from me nor my attorney, which I don't have an attorney because I can't afford one anyways. To date, no written answer has been received by plaintiff or plaintiff's attorney, like I said. Defendant has not otherwise made contact with plaintiff's counsel. No point in contacting your counsel, because if they're that corrupt to keep this darn case going, knowing it's not right, lawfully right, why would I want to talk to a corrupt attorney? There's no point in talking to a corrupt attorney. Again, they made points about me publishing my videos on YouTube about appearance, in the cases, which I already explained that. Then from there, it says they're asking for judgment, and that's that. Then there's a certificate of service, which basically says that the following certificates or the following documentation has been submitted to the courts, which is motion for default, brief in support of motion for default, certificate of default and non-military status, affidavit of proof, certificate of identification, proposed findings of fact, conclusions of law, order for default judgment, and proposed default judgment and decree. So they're basically just saying these are the following documents that they're submitting to the court and what they've served upon me. Again, I've received this from them in an envelope that was not even certified. It's kind of hard to see here, but I don't have any green sticker on here, any tracking device. Including down here, you can see it's hard to see because I'm trying to cover up the personal information. But there is nothing on the backside either of a tracking number or any kind of thing that I need to sign in order to say it was officially served. Any documents you submit to the court needs to be officially served in a proper manner, which would be either certified mail or by a civil server process or whatever. So somebody has to come out here, deliver it, and be a witness to serving me it and then sign a piece of paper. None of that, none of the above. I don't care if it's an attorney, but either way, they have to follow the procedure, which they have not. The next is a notice of motion for default. Please take notice that the enclosed motion will be heard by the court pursuant to Rule 3.2 of the North Dakota Rules of Court, and that the same will be decided on briefs unless oral argument or the taking of testimony is timely requested by a party or required by the court. Please take further notice that you shall have 14 days after service of a brief supporting the enclosed motion within which to serve and file an answer brief, which I'm not going to respond to any of this. So please take further notice that a request for oral argument, again, I'm not going to argue with it, so because it's an invalid hearing. Then we move on to the next, which is a certificate of identification. It basically has our personal information on here. Basically, it's something that they have to put on file, document, shows our jobs, apparently, our date of birth, social security number, our addresses. So I'm not going to show that. I'm not going to say much more on that because that obviously is what it is. Next is affidavit of proof. Now, this was filed in the county of Polk County, state of Minnesota, which I don't understand why Polk County has anything to do with this, because Polk County is not even part of this hearing. It's either Kandiyohi County or Grand Forks County, which technically is not even Grand Forks County. It should be just Kandiyohi County. But they filed it with Polk County, stating that the above title action, that they're a resident of Grand Forks County and a resident of North Dakota for more than 6 months. Do keep in mind, my daughter's been there more than 6 months, but not by approval of me. She had no authorization to take my daughter out of state, as I did not sign anything or agreed upon anything. And on top of that, she registered my daughter for school up there in North Dakota, again, against my wishes and without telling me or where she's going. I mean, I know my daughter needs an education, but I had no say in any of it when she was registered for school out in ACGC here in Kandiyohi County, Minnesota. So, but again, it's just basically providing information, names, date of birth, ages, jobs, all that stuff. And then it says a minor child that was born in 2013, that there's irreconcilable differences again, that none of us are part of the armed services, and that I was served on the 4th, and that the debt has been properly distributed. The items that we own, technically, I'd say yes, it's been properly distributed. She sent me an email list of all the things she wanted, and everything that was on that list, I got her everything that was on that list. So as far as the debts, no. Yes, I have credit card debt, and a lot of it comes from her too, because I had to support her and my daughter. I have no problem supporting my daughter, but if I'm going to support my soon-to-be ex-wife, she needed to also help, support, get a job, which she didn't. I have cameras in this apartment, and during that time frame, yes, I did check in. It's an IP camera, and I did find her laying in the bed, sleeping all day long, not really doing anything. Took her over 3 months to find any kind of job. She was living off of unemployment, and the only thing she helped pay around here was her car payment at the time, which goes to say that she skipped out on the last 2 payments of the car payment for the pure fact that she's trying to intentionally screw me over and hurt my credit history. And then basically, what else we got here? That they're asking the court to accept the proposed terms contained in the motion documents and the proposed judgment documents filed with the court, as they are fair and equitable to both parties. No, it's not fair and equitable to both parties. It's more or less she gets what she wants and I get nothing and I get screwed like usual. Now we get to the big packets, which there's actually 2 big packets here. The first one in my hand, which I'm not going to show the front side because it's got personal information on it. The first one, though, is actually stating findings of fact, conclusions of law, in order for default judgment. Now, this is what they're requesting as part of their court hearing. This is everything that they're looking forward to, I believe. And yes, so this has everything. So I'm going to try to skim through this, and I apologize ahead of time if I'm speaking too fast, because I'm going to have to get ready and go to work here shortly. But anyways, again, it's talking about when I was served. It's been more than 21 days. That has our personal information again. And by the way, one of the forms, they got my birth year wrong, so it goes to figure, but then they get it right on the rest of the stuff, so that's a typo when they didn't do any kind of correction on it. They say where she's, again, residing as far as home and her employment, same thing with me, where we were married. Then they talk about the minor child together that I initiated. And this is where they admit right in the documentation that I initiated a divorce action in Minnesota on February 14th. That's when she was served. I initiated it on February 11th. February 14th is the day she was served by the Grand Forks County Sheriff, because that's the jurisdiction or whatever, and that's where she lives. So, which I served her with summons and petition. Then they claim to say that she went and filed a motion to dismiss the action on March 8th, 2019, alleging that Minnesota does not have jurisdiction to determine custody of the minor child, as she has not resided in Minnesota for the past 6 months. Again, she has not resided in Minnesota for the last 6 months because it was against my wishes, against my will, and it was illegally. To me, it's kind of kidnapping because there was no compromise, there was no nothing. But she took my child and ran. That's what she did. And on top of that, it doesn't matter. The fact is I filed before her. So again, Kandiyohi County has jurisdiction, not Grand Forks County. And how they're asking for a default judgment when jurisdiction hasn't even been decided, hence the reason the case for April 17th, 2019 coming up here. I don't even understand. They're just like automatically assuming that they're going to be granted this. I mean, if it's a corrupt court, yes, they'll be granted it. If it's a honest integrity court of integrity and morals and legal court that abides by the law and rules of the court, then they won't grant the Grand Forks County jurisdiction. So I'm hoping this judge, which I'm not too fond of, because when I filed for a restraining order just recently against my soon-to-be ex-wife, the judge denied the request for that. And I even had plenty of evidence that showed it. I even brought up the fact that she took my dog who is an emotional support animal that is authorized by the St. Cloud VA as a medical, that she tried taking my dog. And the first sheriff didn't want to get my dog back, but a second sheriff, when the day that my soon-to-be ex came and collected her stuff, when he showed up and I asked him about it, he actually got my dog back. So 2 conflicting stories here by 2 different sheriffs, because the first one seemed like a rookie, as I could hear somebody feeding him the information in the background. So apparently he was learning. And the second sheriff was obviously pretty cool by getting my dog back because he knew legally it was my dog anyways. So then we go down to the court has jurisdiction to determine custody of the minor child pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 14-14-01 ET-SEQ, whatever the hell that is. North Dakota is the home state of the minor child. It's a home state because that's where my child is. Again, not willfully. It isn't. Now, here's where they go to talk about the child's best interest, okay? It is in the child's best interest of the minor child that my ex be awarded the decision-making responsibility and the primary residential responsibility over the minor child of the parties. And I should be entitled to reasonable parenting time. First off, my child lives with her grandparents, doesn't live with her mother. So technically, by the grounds of that, she shouldn't even have any right to our child. As far as reasonable parenting time before, I know if they grant this crap, it's not going to happen. Why? Because I've been married. My second ex did the same thing where I'm supposed to have reasonable parenting time, but unfortunately I was not. Because I don't have custody, she refuses to comply with any kind of parenting agreement that we have, like parenting time suggested. And that if I were to try to take my kids or whatever for any kind of time, she would refuse it. And the courts won't do anything because there's no custody on my half. They won't force her to do anything. So she's utilizing it. It's all a scheme for her to earn money, use the kids as a monetary game. So I know that if she gets what she wants, my soon-to-be ex is going to be the same exact way and not allow me to see my daughter. She's already prevented me from seeing my daughter for the most part here. Then it claims that the parties have sufficient income, resources, or earning ability to provide for their daily living expenses, and therefore no spousal support shall be awarded to either party. I'm glad that there's no spousal support, but to say that both parties have sufficient income is bullcrap. I get it. I get my VA disability. That's because I got injured in the military, with my back and my leg problems. I have neuropathy of the legs. I have numbness in my legs. I have flat feet. I have poor circulation. I have degenerative disc disease, which is equivalent to like arthritis. So I get my VA disability. Do I love living in pain every day? Do I love being tired every day? And on the mental side of things, I have a 50% mental rating, which is for my depression and my anxiety. I don't like going out in public. I hate going out in public unless I absolutely have to. I would rather hibernate at home because I feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more safe in my own environment. But when I'm out in public, my depression and my anxiety get the best of me, especially the more people that are around. So that's where I get my VA disability from. My first primary job, my take home after child support to my second ex that I pay $913 a month for, that I don't even get to see my boys. They don't even know who I am. They don't, I have nothing to do with it. I pay money for kids that I don't get to see, but I do support my kids. So because of that, with my first job here, whatever, that leaves me after medical, dental, taxes, all that crap and the child support, my take home is $160. That's all I get to take home from my primary job. So I went out and got a second full-time job. Not that I want to, not that I enjoy doing it, but I have to in order to survive, because there's no way I can live off $160 a month. $160 a paycheck or $320 a month. Not when you got $90,000 worth of debt between car payment, student loans, credit card debt, and all that crap. It all amounts to something. So, but there is no way. That's the only reason why I got the second job, like I said. We do not own any real property, which means we don't own a home and all that stuff. The parties have an interest in financial accounts and automobiles. I have two cars. One that I assigned for myself, and one because she whined and complained and cried all the time about how her old car was a piece of crap. So I said, if I sign for this car for you, you better make a payment, better not miss a payment, don't screw over my credit, because she has a bankruptcy on her record, and so she can't get any kind of decent car. So I signed for a car under the agreement that she would not screw with my credit and she would make her payments. Well, what did she do just recently? She basically didn't make a payment. She told me she wasn't going to make any more payments for the last 2 months. I got stuck making the payment for that. I had to come up with the money fast for it, and I had to come and make a payment. And I don't know, I haven't gone and looked at my credit history to see if it affected my credit, but I do notice my credit score did drop a little bit. So I'm hoping that wasn't because of the missed payments or whatever. So I had to drive on a day off. I had to drive all the way to North Dakota to go pick up the car, which she burrowed into a big snowbank and got stuck. And thank God some random person in that town was driving by on a truck and helped pull us out of the actual snow. So, but we had got up there, got the car, and then she put the tabs on the car, didn't clean off the tabs that I paid for again. And then she put one of the tabs upside down. Well, the first car wash it went through, both tabs got ripped off, and I had to go down to the actual DMV and go repay for some new tabs again because of her. And then over $800 I had to pay to catch up the car. So both cars are in mine, but I'm going to find a way to try to get, if it gets sent here to Kandiyohi County, I'm going to try to get at least 2 payments out of her for the payments she screwed me over on. Then it says the parties have personal property, which requires an equitable division. It was already determined that the actual property that we have has already been equally divided. The parties have accumulated a certain amount of debt throughout their marriage. Well, yeah, $90,000 worth of debt. I'd say that's quite a bit, and a lot of it's credit cards, and that's what happens when I have no problem supporting my kid, but when I'm helping to also support, a soon-to-be ex-wife, that really pisses me off. Again, it talks about her attorney and the address of, which actually is a different address, because the first one I said 640 Hill Avenue, Grafton, North Dakota. Here it says it's Diane L. Schell out of Brudvik Law Offices out of 308 Demers Avenue, East Grand Forks. So apparently, I don't know, they have 2 locations for this law office now. The summons and complaint were personally served on me on March 4th. Neither one of us has been in the military. Irreconcilable differences again. Okay, now here's where it goes on to say my income net income or whatever for, now this is bullshit because I don't have net income of this. I have maybe 4,000 or so, but they're saying 5,260 per month. They're going gross. That's not net. I can guarantee you that's gross. Here they're trying to request $836 a month in child support for me for my daughter when I'm already paying $913 for my two boys that I don't get to see. So $913 and then plus the $836, you're looking at, what is that? $1,749 that I would have to pay a month in freaking child support for kids that I don't get to see. What kind of bullshit is that? And how is anybody supposed to live off of that? What a crock. And then the parties have incurred attorney's fees. No, she's incurred attorney's fees. She's the one that went out and decided to hire an attorney because she can't do pro se. Pro se meaning do it yourself, like I'm doing. And I'm pretty sure three things. For the attorney, she either went to mom and dad and borrowed the money to pay for her attorney, or she's paying out of her pocket somehow, making payments to the attorney, and then the attorney's going to try to recoup it out of me, or the attorney's going pro bono, doing this out of spite, and then going to collect it out of me nevertheless, which I'll get to that here. The plaintiff seeks a name change as part of these proceedings. Good, because I don't want her to have my last name. She doesn't deserve to have my last name. She is definitely not one of the family. More than 21 days have passed. Now we go into conclusions of the law. Jurisdiction. This court, referring to Grand Forks County, has jurisdiction of the subject matter and of the parties to this action. North Dakota is the home state of the minor child. No, it is illegally the home state because I didn't authorize it. So, no. Divorce, that the parties shall have an absolute degree of divorce from the other on the grounds of irreconcilable differences, basically that we're going to get an approved divorce. Military status, neither one of us has been in the military. Talks about her independent counsel where she's got this Diane L. Shaw, and that I'm not represented. So now they finally admit that I'm not represented, that I'm pro se. Residential responsibility, that my ex is going to have primary residential responsibility of the minor child. And then subject to my rights of reasonable parenting time. Now, this is where it goes into a kind of a schedule. That my ex-residence shall be the legal residence for the purpose of school attendance. That's because she enrolled her there in school, again, without my knowledge or without me knowing what's going on, without conferring with me on it. Now, when it comes to parenting time, absent an agreement to the contrary, I, referring to me, shall exercise parenting time on the last weekend of each month. So I only get one weekend a month, according to this, 5 p.m. on Friday until 5 p.m. on Sunday. Well, first off, in my primary job, I work pretty much every weekend unless I'm taking a vacation. Second off, it's a 5-hour trip there, 5-hour trip back. That's 10 hours. Third, this is to take place, the weekend of parenting time is to take place and to be exercised in North Dakota. So I have to go spend time with my daughter in North Dakota. So I have to drive all the way there. And I'm going to have to rent a hotel room with money I don't have to be able to see my daughter. What kind of bullshit is that? And I'm supposed to provide 7 days notice prior to the one weekend per month. Well, if they already say it's the last weekend of each month, why do I have to give prior notice anyways? If you know it's already the last weekend, there's no need to give prior notice. What kind of garbage is that? Now we get into summer parenting time, that I shall be entitled to extended parenting time during the summer consisting of 2 non-consecutive weeks. So basically, I cannot do them 2 weeks in a row. They have to take place 2 weeks total in the entire summer. And basically, I'm to notify her. Okay, and keep in mind that since this has to be exercised in North Dakota, that means I'm going to have to spend a whole week in North Dakota. How the hell am I going to get a goddamn week off from my primary job when I'm lucky enough to get 3 or 4 days off from that job? But I'm supposed to notify her by May 1st of every freaking year. Then you go on to say, my ex, whatever, shall approve Ryan's request by May 15th of every year. Well, I don't give a shit. Her name is Jamie. My name is Ryan. Let's do that. Because I can guarantee you can go look this up on public record anyways. And I don't give a shit if she files a goddamn restraining order against me or whatever. It's not going to stop me from doing this. Put me in fucking jail. What the hell is it going to do? I don't care. I'm already going to quit probably both my jobs anyways because I'm not going to give in to this goddamn shit. Then it says that she shall approve my request by the May 15th of each year. In the event of a conflict, my dates will take priority in the odd number years, and her dates will take priority in the even numbered years. Now, for transportation, this is another thing. This is funny, too. Transportation for parenting time exchanges shall be shared. Unless agreed otherwise, transportation shall typically be done by the parent beginning the parenting time. So, from what I'm understanding from this, it's saying that it should be shared. Shared to me is 50-50, so half the distance. Well, if I have to exercise in North Dakota, from here to Fargo, North Dakota is 3 hours alone. If this trip is 5 hours, you tell me where that's 50-50. That ain't 50-50 whatsoever. And I pardon my language, and I apologize for my attitude and shit, but this shit really irritates me. And on top of that, again, by the parent beginning parenting time. So I'm assuming they're referring to me that I'm going to have to actually, in all technicality, go travel to her home, which is 5 hours away. So there is no shared transportation. It's going to be all me going to pick up my damn daughter, and then I have to go find a hotel to go spend this time with her at my expense, which is real funny because I don't have anybody up there in North Dakota that I can go stay with. Then communication. Each parent is entitled to reasonable electronic and telephonic communication with the minor child. Well, she doesn't have to worry about that. Other than the fact that my child doesn't live with her, she lives with the grandparents. But outside of that, she's with her otherwise, I'm sure. And as far as my communication goes, I have already tried to make contact with my daughter on several instances, and she has not picked up on Skype, which she knows how to use Skype just fine, and she's 6 years old. And she's never called me on Skype either. And then when I sit there and I leave a message through Skype, like a video message or something like that, my ex has the nerve to make a message back. I don't care what my ex has to say. It has nothing to do with that, because of the fact that what she says doesn't matter. It's the fact that my daughter, either she's not getting these messages because my ex is refusing to give her the messages, or she's preventing her from being able to call me. So it's a bunch of bogusness there. Then it goes into holiday parenting time, which rotates out even years, odd years, and then Mother's Day is all hers, Father's Day is all mine. But again, it's not. My child is immediately up there, so it's easier and convenient for her. There's no convenience in here for this for me. Decision-making responsibility. Okay, now if somebody has legal custody and physical custody of a child, and I only have reasonable parenting time, I don't get any decision-making responsibility. There is none. That is the purpose of legal custody, to make legal decisions and physical custody decisions regarding the child. Where the child goes, what school they attend to, medical decisions, etc., etc., etc. So here it says decision-making responsibility. The parties shall have joint decision-making responsibility. The parties shall each have the following parental rights, duties, and responsibilities relating to the minor children of the parties. Now they're referring to emergency medical decisions. Each parent is authorized to make emergency health care decisions while the child is in that parent's care. Again, the only time that the child is in my care is if I make the trip up there to go spend time with my daughter, which if I had all the time in the world, I would love to do that. And if I had all the money in the world to go do it, I would love to do it, because my daughter means everything to me. Day-to-day decisions. Each parent is authorized to make decisions regarding the day-to-day care and control of the child while the child resides with that parent. Again, there's no decision there for me. Joint decisions. The parents shall jointly make decisions regarding the child's education. Again, she's the one that enrolled her. I had no say. And non-emergency health care. I don't know what health problems she might have. She hasn't communicated crap with me. Not that I want to talk to my ex, because, again, I would rather have nothing to do with her if I had any choice in the matter. I just want her completely the hell out of my life because I'm tired of it. She's done nothing but stress me out and put me over the top, make my anxiety and my depression 10 times worse. Hence the reason you can kind of sense my aggravation here. So then the duties and responsibilities. The parties shall share the following duties and responsibilities of the minor child. Right to access and obtain copies of the child's education, medical, dental, religious, insurance, and other records or information. Now, with my first ex-wife, when I came to my daughters, when they were going in and out of the doctor for what I found out, and I went down to the doctor's office and requested records, they were hesitant to give me anything because I had no legal or physical custody. That's how screwed up the system is. Even though I'm biologically blood the child's father, it doesn't matter. Right to attend educational conferences concerning the child. Again, at a school that I didn't approve and 5 hours away, again. And it's a matter of me trying to find time and lose hours at work or whatever and lose money. Well, yeah, that's what she wants. I mean, she wants to take me for all the money in the world here. This right does not require any school to hold a separate conference with each parent. So they don't care if you want to be there, both parents be there, kind of thing. Right to attend medical appointments concerning the child. Again, half the time I don't find out my daughter's sick until after the fact. Maybe like if I'm lucky to talk to her on Skype and I hear she's got a congested nose or something. So she ain't going to tell me anything, so I won't be able to go to the medical appointments. I even had an appointment for her recently set here at the dental down here in Willmar, Minnesota. Unfortunately, I had to cancel that appointment because she's up there in North Dakota. So, right to reasonable access to the child by written, telephonic, and electronic means. Again, I've been trying Skype. I've already explained that. Duty to inform the other parent as soon as reasonably possible of a serious accident or serious illness for which the child receives healthcare treatment. The parent shall provide to the other parent a description of the serious accident or serious illness, the time of the serious accident or serious illness, and the name and location of the treating healthcare provider. I doubt that's going to happen. Duty to immediately inform the other parent of change in residential phone number and address and any changes to the same. For the longest time, I was going to send stuff to my soon-to-be ex-wife, and she kept saying, send it to my parents, because she didn't want to give me her address to where she lived. It took how long to get that information out of her as well as her phone number? Duty to keep the other parent informed of the name and address of the school the child attends. Well, I know what school she's at. I figured that one out. Duty to inform the other parent of significant achievements by the child. If I'm lucky, I might hear some stuff, but that's not a promise or guarantee. Duty to inform the other parent of legal significant behavior problems. I'm probably not going to hear anything on that either. Each party shall use their best efforts to foster a healthy, active, and loving relationship between the child and the other. She's already not doing that. She doesn't let my child talk to me. I barely get to see her, and she won't even let my child come here to Minnesota because of my roommate. She has a big thing against my roommate, making accusations and all that crap, and it pisses me off. And she's holding that against me to refuse my child to come here and spend time with her father and allow me to, take her places or whatever, maybe Mall of America or out to a park when the weather's nice, although the weather's just still trying to get nice around here. It is Minnesota. Now we go into child's right and expectations. The parties recognize the minor child has certain rights and reasonable expectations, which the party shall endeavor to recognize, including the following: the right to a continuing relationship with both parents. She's not continuing the relationship with both parents. She's only doing it for herself and with herself. I'm nothing. She doesn't want my daughter to have a relationship with her father. The right to be treated as an important human being with unique feelings, ideas, and desires. I don't think she cares. I honestly don't think she cares enough about my child or our child, whatever, however you want to see it, but our daughter, that she doesn't give a crap about the fact of that, in all technicality, she's hurting our daughter by keeping her from her father. So, of course, why would she care about her unique feelings, ideas, and desires? Yeah, I get it. She has her own personality. She's going to do her own things, and she has her own likes and dislikes. Great, that's great, but that doesn't establish, how that relates to as far as the rights and reasonable expectations, the right to continuing care and guidance from both parents. Nope, it's only one-sided. It's only her. The right to know and appreciate what is good in each parent without one party degrading or disparaging the other. That line right there, she had basically told my daughter that I'm the cause of the marriage falling apart and that the reason why they had to go move to North Dakota and stuff like that I'm the problem because I'm out there screwing around, which is a bunch of bullshit. And so my daughter's got a bad view of me because of what the parental alienation that's going on, where it's being fed from one side, her side. And that's why I'm doing these videos and live streams and stuff like that, is because with YouTube here, when my kids get old enough, all 5 of my kids, and that, trust me, I don't have any more kids, and I don't plan on having any more kids. I can't have any more kids. I made sure of that. But when my kids are old enough to actually come out here and look at these videos and actually see, they can see that I didn't give up. Well, it may look like I'm going to give up, and I'll explain that here in a moment, but that I've tried fighting for all my kids in every sense of the form, but when you got a corrupt court system, corrupt attorneys, corrupt judges, corrupt law enforcement, and horrible mothers, as parents, instead of being respectful of the other parent and just communicating and just working for the better interest of the child, it's a crock of crap. I mean, my kids are going to see all this, and they're going to see, hey, Dad is out there. He's actually telling his side of the story. My two oldest daughters told me that they hate me. And I can only imagine why they told me that they hate me, because they only heard one side of the story when it comes to my first ex-wife, that they only saw one side of the story, and that's all they've never known growing up, because every time I was lucky if I got to see him like once a year, and that was usually about Christmas time. And with that, when I got to see him for Christmas, one time I got trash talk asking why I don't pay child support. Okay, first off, why does a child need to know about child support? Why does it matter? You know, I mean, child support is supposed to be something under the scenes to support a child. You don't address it to a child. So clearly my ex addressed it to a child, or to our children. But I got asked that, so I had to go get a pay stub, and I showed him a little line in there, and I said, you see this money? And I said, this is money that gets taken out of my check automatically, not by my company, not by me, but by the state of Minnesota. And then they take that money and they give it to their mother. So wherever the money went is beyond me. And that's all I told them. They went back, and I don't know what they told their mother, but things hit the fan. But again, you know, they told me they hate me, but that's how you can tell it's parental alienation. So then it goes on to be, where are we at here? The right to exercise love, affection, and respect for each parent without having to stifle that love because of fear of disapproval by the other parent. Well, you already know that my daughter's being fed a one-sided view. The right to know that the parent's decision to live apart was not the responsibility of the child. And that's what she's trying to make it sound like. She's trying to make it sound to my daughter that it's my fault, and that my daughter kind of feels like maybe it's her fault, which is not her fault, and it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with my soon-to-be ex-wife. You know, I don't deserve to come home every day and get abused, you know, emotionally, physically, whatever, or financially. I don't deserve that, you know, especially for the fact that I went to work and I came home. I didn't go anywhere else. Maybe once in a blue moon, I went out to Grizzlies. And if she really wanted to drive past and stalk me at a goddamn restaurant, so be it. She'd see I'd be sitting at the goddamn table, eating my food and drinking my beer. The right to not be involved in arguments and disagreements between the parents. That's all my ex did. All she wanted to do was argue in front of my daughter. And I did not appreciate that. That's one thing I've never initiated an argument. It was always her in some shape or form. She always initiated an argument. She always had an attitude, and I'd ask her, what's wrong? Because I can tell when something's wrong. And I know it had to do with me. And she would start bitching, you know, and then she would address it in front of my daughter and stuff like that. And my daughter would have to hear this in both ears, and that's not good for her. So it's crock. The right to continuity in the relationship with each parent and other adults and children in their living environment. Well, obviously, I'm not in her living environment because I'm here in Minnesota, and she's in North Dakota. So it's, you know, obviously that's not going to work either. The right to receive mail and gifts from each parent without obstruction and interference by any other. Well, obviously, I sent my daughter, it was a video game and some other stuff, I believe, but I sent her that stuff. And I don't even know if she's even had time to play it or even look at it or even touch it, because I bought her an Xbox. And again, I'm pretty sure, knowing my ex, she's probably playing it herself. It's probably sitting in her home because my daughter's living with the grandparents, and I guarantee the Xbox isn't there. So it wouldn't surprise me. The right to regular contact via phone or other electronic means with each parent without obstruction or interference by any other. There's plenty of interference here because she ain't talking to me. Then we go into post-judgment modification. Basically, no motion for an order to modify primary residential responsibility may be made earlier than 2 years after the date of an entry of an order establishing primary residence. So by them, if they approve this order as being North Dakota as her primary residence, that no, she cannot shift to another address or whatever for 2 years from the date of that order, which is bullcrap, because it's like saying, oh, if a judge said, yeah, you're granted custody, I have to wait 2 years for her to come and live with me because, you know, custody changed hands. That's a crock. Residence of the child. The child may not change the primary residence of, well, I guess here now it's contradictory, because it says it may not change the primary residence of the child to another state except upon order of a court or with the consent of the other parent. Well, I know she ain't going to give consent. So, whether or not a court will give me the order, that's a good question. A court order is not required if the other parent has not exercised visitation rights for a period of 1 year. by my child living there in North Dakota. Her hope is, knowing the distance between her and I, that she's going to try to use that to make it so I can't visit my child. And then because of that, she'll be like, well, then he hasn't made any attempt to visit his daughter because she doesn't understand how hard it is and how difficult it is, you know. And has that, and that's for a period of 1 year. So if I haven't visited my daughter for a period of 1 year, then a court order is not required. Or has moved to another state and is more than 50 miles away. Well, obviously, I'm in another state from her, and it's definitely more than 50 miles away. So that's another excuse for her to actually use that. Then here's where it comes in. This is the biggest thing. This is where it's greed, and this is any mother of any child. In, I'd say, at least 85 to 90% or more of cases, most women get custody of the child and they get child support. And here it states child support, which would be commencing on the 1st of every month. Or I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Commencing on the 1st of the month following entry of judgment. So after the judgment is made by the court, it'll be the 1st on the next month. And that they want me to pay $836 a month for my daughter. Again, because my ex chooses to use my daughter as a piece of personal gain, of monetary value. And when a parent puts a price on a child's head, they don't care about the child's well-being. They just care about their own financial gain. There's nothing about the respect for the child. There's nothing about the feelings and emotions of that child. And they just see the child as a piece of property. That is what happens when a person puts any child support. So like my second ex, my first ex was that way, but she grew up eventually and she got her new husband to adopt, and I was fine with that. So I've kind of gained some respect for her, but I don't have trust for her. But I do give her a certain amount of respect for my first ex. You know, I have no respect for my second ex, and I have no respect for my current ex. My second ex, with $913 a month, she decided to take a trip with her new husband to Hawaii without the children. So I can guarantee you know who paid for that. Right here. So if she can afford to go take a trip to goddamn Hawaii, she doesn't need my money. So that she wants child support, and that's based off of, and here's where they go to say the net income of mine is $5,328 per month. No, net is after taxes, deductions, and all that crap. I can guarantee you it is far from that amount. I'd say probably about $3,500 to $4,000. Not, that's way overboard for the calculations here. And then it says that I do not claim my daughter for income tax and deduction purposes. That's because I have my child ripped from me that's living in North Dakota, and my ex refuses to let me claim my daughter on my income taxes. Now, that's why I owe $2,100 in income taxes this year, because married filing separate, and I don't, because of that type of status, I don't get to claim deductions, and I don't have my daughter to claim as a deduction either, which is fine, because like I said, I don't see my daughter as if it's part of the taxes, fine, but I don't see that as a monetary gain, because I paid in for the last couple of years, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The tax laws this year suck. Now, they went in to calculate like all the total amounts and stuff like that for me. Now, there's nothing in any of this paperwork that says anything about what she makes. So they're withholding that information from me, which is wrong, because I mean, if I have to expose all my information, then it's pretty much a crock of shit. But here they say my gross annual income is $83,568. They say deductions, federal income tax is about $11,686. State income tax is about $1,285. FICA Medicare is $44.95. Health insurance is $21.67. Total deductions is $19,633. Therefore, my total net annual income, again, and I can guarantee you, if this is an annual deduction, $2,167 is way off. Because if I pay over $300 a month, what's 3 times 10? 10 months. That's already $3,000. So that's bullshit right there. Total net annual income they're saying is $63,935. Apparently that's what they say I take home. Okay, you tell me, $160 from my primary job times 12 months. Then take maybe my grand for close to $1,000 or whatever from my second job per paycheck. So about maybe $1,800 a month. Well, just, if you want to round it, just say $2,000 a month. So there's $2,160, and then my VA disability is about $2,000. So there's $4,160. So where the hell did they get $5,328 $428 as my net monthly income when it's less than that. Like I said, it's $4,000. Get it right. God, if you're going to fucking put information in this shit, goddamn well better put accurate information, not lies and bullshit. So it says support amount from guidelines is $954. Multiple families, because I have multiple families and I'm supporting 2 other children from another marriage, previous marriage, shall I say, sorry. That my child support obligation to my soon-to-be ex-wife is $836 a month. So not only am I, like I said, $913 to my second ex, but $836 to her. Let's spend over $1,700 a month that I can't afford with $90,000 worth of debt. Says the payment for the child will continue until the child reaches 18 or otherwise emancipated, or if upon attaining the age of 18 years old and the child has not yet graduated from high school and continues to reside with the obligee. That means the obligee would be the person receiving, which is her, or until the child's graduation from high school, but in no event shall the child support obligation continue beyond the child's 19th birthday. Pursuant to statute, the income of the obligor, which is me, is hereby made subject to withholding for the payment of this child support obligation. The obligor shall notify the clerk of district court in every change of employment. Well, if I quit my jobs, there's nothing to tell you about other than the fact that I have no goddamn income, including the name and address of the obligor's employer and the date of such employment began. Further, all child support payments shall be paid to the North Dakota state. Well, if I had a job, you'd be taken out of my goddamn paychecks anyway, so what do I care? As trustee for remittance to the custodial parent, and shall be paid by personal check, certified check, money order, unless payment is made by employer withholding, in which case the employer's check shall be sufficient. Now, that goes to say here, again, with this monetary gain, you know, placing a price on a child's head is pretty pathetic. But I don't know. To me, the court system is corrupt. This is all financial gain for the ex. It's a way for a woman, and I'm not saying men don't get it, but I'd say women in the majority that get custody of a child end up with child support. They're doing it for their own personal gain, as well as the courts doing it and establishing it because they get a certain percentage or something like that. The judges will get something out of it, the county will get something out of it, and it's all monetary gain for them. It's a corrupt system. It's a joke. This is why I don't trust courts. I don't trust law enforcement, and I don't trust lawyers. I don't trust exes. In my old saying, it's DTA, like anybody else would say, don't trust anyone. The obligor is hereby notified that he cannot make child support payments directly to the obligee. Not that I would ever want to make payments directly to her, because she'd probably lie and say that she never got it anyways. Obligor is hereby notified that should the obligor become delinquent, that the clerk of court is authorized to add an additional amount of child support to the current obligation until the child support is brought current. Well, again, if you want to increase my child support out of my checks that I don't get because I quit both my jobs because you guys want to be stuck-up assholes, so be it. Pursuant to North Dakota law, interest will accrue on child support obligations that first become an arrearage. The obligor's income is subject to immediate income withholding, regardless of whether the obligor's support payments are delinquent. The parties are hereby notified that either party may request review of the order for child support under Section 16 of Chapter 148 of the 1989 Session Laws of North Dakota, blah, 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 which, again, this is a corrupt goddamn... This is an invalid hearing. I'll tell you that right now. Child support agency, including in the manner provided, a desire to have the order for child support reviewed. And then it talks about going on about adding more to the child support until they catch up if they're behind. Should the obligor's child support obligation be suspended or terminated? Highly doubtful. The monthly payment due toward arrears shall be in an amount commensurate with North Dakota CC. I don't know what that is, if that's criminal code or something like that, or they're basically civil procedures, more or less. It's 14-09-09.30. They got a bunch of different rules and regulations here. Each party subject to this order shall immediately inform the state disbursement unit of the party's social security number, residential and mailing addresses, and any change of address, telephone number, motor vehicle operator's license number, employer's name, address, and telephone number, change of any other condition which may affect the proper administration of Chapter 14-09 within 10 days. Now it gives a breakdown in category insurance coverage. Basically, as me being the obligor, they want me to continue my insurance coverage. Well, that would continue if I had a job. But if she's going to be a screw job, I'm not going to keep my job and benefit her. I'm not burning myself out in my health and doing this because I freaking enjoy it. So if I quit my freaking job, there's not going to be any health insurance. What are you going to get? Nothing. Apparently she doesn't have to cover, our daughter in any kind of medical insurance either. Uninsured medical expenses, so any expenses, like any bills that are due after the insurance has gone through its crap, shall be equally shared. Well, I guarantee that's not going to happen because my ex can't even pay her own damn bills that are in collections, and she goes to every freaking medical place there is, racks up a bill, and doesn't pay them anyways. So she ain't going to pay her half of that if I were stuck with it. The party shall then have an additional 30 days to reimburse 50% of the payment. The party that receives the bill shall be responsible for providing the other party with billing information within 30 days of receipt or payment of the deductible. Income tax exemption. So because they're fighting for custody and trying to give my ex custody of my daughter, she's allowed to claim her every freaking year of income taxes. Every goddamn year there is, she gets to claim her as a benefit. That's a benefit to her. It's going to help her get free money back from the IRS, so, and I get nothing to do with any of that. So I can't get a tax break. It'd be nice so I don't have to pay in every year like I'm paying in this freaking year. And it says beginning in the 2018 tax year. That's because she's already claimed her this year. So dispute resolution. In the event that the parties have a child-related dispute, the parties shall put forth a mutual effort to cooperate to resolve any issues or seek assistance of mediation services prior to seeking relief of the court. That ain't going to happen. She wouldn't work with me. She's never worked with me, and she never will work with me. And before I continue here real quick, I just want to thank anybody that's sitting here live with me right now and anybody that watches this video later. Thanks for sticking with me. I know this video is kind of long. We're already at 56 minutes here. So I appreciate you sticking through this, and I apologize for my raving and ranting, but I'm trying to get you out the information as quick as I can because I got to go to work pretty quick here. Working for nothing, basically, chump change. So I just want to, again, thank anybody that's with me here. So in the event that the parties, we already did that. Spousal support. No spousal support is ordered for either party. Plaintiff's personal property. So my ex's property is basically she's free and clear of any claim on the part of me. So I can't claim any of the property she has. And household good furnishings, jewelry, and all other tangible personal property that's in her possession already. Additionally, she shall be awarded all of the minor's child's belonging in the twin bed with the light-up headboard. That's fine. I gave her the option to have the damn headboard or whatever so my daughter doesn't have to sleep on the floor because she can't afford a bed. So if she wants that bed, she can drag her happy ass down here. We'll have a sheriff come here again. Well, when the sheriff shows up, then I will put the goddamn bed out in the hall and she can drag the goddamn bed back to North Dakota because I'm not wasting my dime to go up there all the time and not get reimbursed a dang penny from her. No, she's already screwed me over too many times. Also, the property that I own, she's not allowed to claim any part of my property. You're darn right. She already wrote an email of what she wanted, and I gave her everything she wanted. Now, here's where the part that really pisses me off, too. Pets. Okay, first off, my dog is kind of a pet, but not really, because it's a medically authorized. It's not a service animal. I could train it to be a service animal, but then it has certain requirements, which with my certain situation with working my job, I can't do right now. But Ryan shall be awarded the party's dog. So I shall be awarded the dogs. Party's dog. Sorry. I thought it said plural, Lord. Party's dog. Should I be unable or willing to keep the dog, then it shall be given to the minor child rather than be sold or given away. I would have no problem giving my daughter the dog if I were unable to care for it. But that dog is for my emotional support purposes. And second, I would not give, as long as my daughter lives under that roof with that evil woman, I will not give her that dog. She will not get the dog whatsoever. I don't care. I will find a new home, rehome my dog, and I won't tell anybody where the hell my dog went to. That'll be just something that only I know, and I will not share that because she is not entitled to that dog. She didn't even pay a freaking dime for it. She wants it. If she wanted that dog so bad, pay me the $1,400 freaking dollars then that I paid for that dog. Otherwise, get off my back. Automobiles. Okay, now it goes on to explain that I had a 2015 GMC Terrain and a 2015 Chevy Equinox. Well, Equinox was mine anyways. That's the one that I signed for and bought and paid for. Well, what had been paying on, I guess you could say. Had been paying on for myself. The GMC Terrain was the one that I signed for her, which she was supposed to be responsible for, and she decided to screw me over with but not making 2 payments, and I had to go pick up the car before I got repossessed and make the payments in order to keep it so I don't screw up my credit history, which I have no idea if I got screwed up. But I shall have the right, title, interest, and equity free and clear of any claim on the part of the plaintiff. Therefore, she cannot come after me. Jamie cannot come after me to get these then. But if it goes through the court system, I can guarantee you I will go back and at least get 2 months. The 2 months she screwed me on. I will do everything I can to make sure I get recouped for that. I shall assume any encumbrances thereon, and he shall indemnify and hold plaintiff harmless from any obligation to pay the same. I will not hold. I will not allow her to be held harmless of any. I will make sure I go for those 2 months. The titles are already technically in my name, and so is the car because I signed for them because she has bankruptcy, like I said. Bank accounts. Well, we never had a joint account, and I can guarantee you, anybody watching this video, if you're a man or woman, especially men, no offense to the women, but men or women, do not get joint accounts whatsoever. Do not financially join yourself because you're looking for a real bad screw job. Keep your individual accounts, and if you want a joint account, then have a mutual joint account where you can transfer money into it, the money that you want, so neither person can touch each other's personal account and cannot be affected. So just be smart about it. Don't share accounts. And credit cards are the same way. Don't put each other's names on it because she'll go rack up your credit card and then she won't give a shit. And when it comes to the divorce, they're just going to try to throw it out and not make her pay anything. So credit cards, they're trying to say that we're responsible for our own credit cards. Hell with that. I would try to fight to get her to help me pay some of those credit cards that I helped to pay for herself, like putting tires on her car or putting gas in her tank at times or getting her food. I didn't do it out of the humor, out of the kindness of my heart. I expected her to help me pay, which she didn't want to work a job anyways. Retirement interest. I don't have any retirement accounts, so it doesn't matter anyways, and neither does she. Joint debts. Each party shall be obligated to pay all debt incurred there in their own names. There is no joint unsecured debt. Each party shall indemnify and hold the other party harmless from any obligation to make any payment of debt assigned to them. Again, I'm going to make sure that the things that I want to get claimed, I will have claimed. So that plain and simple. Name change. She's going to change it back to her maiden names, and thank God, I hope to God she does, because she, like I said, she doesn't deserve my last name. And now they want me to pay her attorney fees. Okay, she decided to go get legal help. That's her own choice. Did I go find money someplace or something like that and go pay an attorney unnecessarily when I'm doing this all pro se? I'm doing this all myself. But she decided to go hire an attorney, and they want me to reimburse her her attorney, $3,000. $3,000 fucking dollars for her attorney because she chose to go hire an attorney. Give me a fucking break. You can kiss my ass if you think I'm going to pay that $3,000 for an attorney, an untruthful, a lying, a manipulative attorney that can't legally follow the court laws and rules and regulations by filing this unlawful divorce decree in a county that has no damn jurisdiction because it was filed here first. So you can kiss my ass if you think I'm going to pay that back. I'll quit both my jobs. Like I said, I have no problem with that. I'll go to freaking jail. I'll have a roof over my head, a bed, 3 meals a freaking day. I can actually sleep. I don't have to stress myself over any work. So freaking be it. If I have to put myself in a mental institution, so be it. But I sure as hell ain't giving her shit. As far as effects of bankruptcy, if I decided to want to go file bankruptcy, I don't give a shit what this order says, but I will file bankruptcy because, if she can go out and file bankruptcy and get away with whatever she wants, why can't I do it if I want to clear my name and my debt if she doesn't want to help me pay a fucking dime for these credit cards? Tax consequences, basically just saying if whatever property we hold, if they need to be claimed or filed on taxes, you got to follow IRS rules and shit. Withdrawal as attorney of record, basically saying once the final divorce decree is finalized, 31 days after the service of the notice of entry of judgment and decree herein by the courts, basically, that her attorney will no longer be her attorney on record unless she's rehired to fight something again. And then execution of required documents. Each party shall, within 14 days from and after the date of entry of judgment or upon presentation, whichever occurs first, execute any document, transfer papers titles or other documents required to affect the terms and provisions of the judgment and decree. In the event that a party fails to sign transfer papers as required, the judgment shall operate to transfer title to property as awarded. Basically saying if she chooses not to go file it, I could take this paperwork and say it's been more than 14 freaking days and I could have it changed, but there's nothing in her freaking name that I have to worry about. And last thing here on this one was notice of entry of judgment to be served within 14 days after the entry of judgment. It'll be basically, let's see, served by the counsel for the plaintiff upon defendant, all in accordance with Rule 58B of the North Dakota Rules of Civil Procedure. So that's that. And then the last thing here, and then I'm gonna try to brief this up because I got about 5 minutes here and I gotta go get ready for work. Default judgment and decree is basically, I don't know if this is actually signed. Yes, it's not signed by anybody, so this isn't official. This is preparing because they're expecting to win. Basically, the undersigned, basically the jurisdiction, the divorce, that it should be approved, the whole parenting time, everything that I discussed priorly. It's basically the same exact thing. Again, there's no information about her income because they're keeping that discreet from me. They're hiding it. They don't want me to know how much she makes and, per hour or annual because apparently they feel it's not necessary. It's not fair to me to have to know what she makes. So this one's the default judgment decree. It's basically they're preparing the paperwork for the judge to sign if it gets approved, which, like I said, if it does, that judge, it says here it would be presented in front of honorable, which if the judge signs it, you can take that honorable title and shove it up your ass because it is dishonorable. Lolita Hartle Romanick, the judge of the district court, judicial district, Grand Forks County, North Dakota, and her hand and seal. So if she were to approve of this order, when there is no actual jurisdiction in North Dakota because it hasn't been established, and by lawful rules is not allowed because I filed first here and this was filed a month after. Like I said, then that shows how corrupt the attorney is, that Diana L. Shull from the Brudvik law offices. That would also go to show how corrupt the judge would be, Lolita Hartle Romanick. That would go also to show how corrupt she is, the system, and anybody that would enforce this order, law enforcement, the sheriffs, the local police officers. If anybody enforces the order, if this is what is officially taking place, then they're just as corrupt as that. And also goes to show how corrupt my soon-to-be ex-wife is. Again, I apologize for a lot of raving and ranting. I apologize for the language. But whatever, it is YouTube. I'm not doing this for monetary gain. Again, this is just for personal transparency to whoever views this, to let them know this is how bullshit court systems are. This is how bullshit divorces are. You should never get married. Don't have kids. As you're going to get screwed royally, especially if you're a man. I'm not saying women don't, because there are women out there that I know that also have been shafted in the same position, but then they personally know exactly what men are going through. But the ones that don't do it, I can't say much for them. I know my soon-to-be ex-wife, she's paying child support for her son that's living with her sister, but obviously she's still, for her financial gain, she's trying to hit me for child support. So apparently it's not hitting her hard enough to understand what it's like to go through. She obviously seeing what I suffer and go through as far as paying $913 a month to somebody that I don't even get to see my children and crap. So all in all here, again, I appreciate everybody sticking with me. Again, anybody that wants to come to the local court hearing to see the dismissal that they're trying to request, it is April 17th. 3:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know if they're going to let anybody and everybody into the courtroom. To me, it's my divorce. I really honestly don't give two shits. People can see whatever they want. I'd rather have them see it. They don't call it a public courthouse for nothing because it is public accessible. And if it is my hearing, I should have every right to have anybody I want in there. So anybody that wants to show up can. If the court refuses to let you in and you show up and you sit out in the hall, I will go ahead and brief anybody and everybody what happened in the courtroom then. Unfortunately, in the state of Minnesota, especially here in Kandiyohi County, I've already been told that they don't video record and audio record for people to be able to request to get a copy of it. If you want a copy, you have to get a certified. It's a, the transcript or whatever of the court hearing, which is kind of funny because when you're sitting in the courtroom and you see a couple cameras here, and then you see this little sign on the judge's podium that says recording, and it lights up when it's recording the audio, which I assume video as well. You would think that you would be able to get a copy of that. It should be publicly accessible. So I find that kind of bullshit. And I don't say it's the official document when it's a transcript, because people aren't getting the 100% full view of everything going on behind the scenes. They only get the bits and pieces that the judges want people to see, not the reality of the corruption and shit that goes on behind the scenes. That's all like deleted from the transcripts. You won't ever see that in there. So that's why I want people to come to the court hearing to see this, so they can see it for themselves and see how bullshit it is. So again, April 17th, Wednesday, 3:45 p.m., Kandiyohi County Courthouse, which is in Willmar, Minnesota. I will be there. I will make sure I get out of work for that. Other than that, if I receive any other paperwork regarding this or any other updated information that I know of, I will also update it here for anybody that can't attend the court hearing on April 17th. I will also upload a video and keep you posted on the results of what happened in that court hearing as well. As always, if you want to stay up to date with what's going on, feel free to hit the subscribe button below. Make sure you turn on your notifications. If you like these videos, go ahead and hit like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. I don't care if it's positive or negative. Call me a whiner, a baby, whatever. I don't care. It's your opinion, and I want people to express their opinions, good or bad. I really honestly don't care. But if you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so below. Unless you're my ex or soon-to-be ex trying to harass me like you did before, which I do have a screenshot of that on my phone. Then I will block if I feel that it is her and or anybody related to her and is harassing me. I will go ahead and delete and block that person from being able to access my page, and they can create as many fake accounts as they want like they did there. But I know it's her because as soon as I confronted her, she deleted the post. It's also proven within the court papers here that she's been monitoring my YouTube. So again, feel free to leave those comments, subscribe, like, and I will keep you up to date and hopefully see you next time. Thanks for joining me on this stream. Have a good night. Boom.